Welcome to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him at gods5minutes@gmail.com. Now, here's Ed Wilson with God's 5 Minutes.
Hello, friends. None of us can control the era in which we chance to live. It was Jeremiah's lot to be on this planet at the very worst of Israel's idolatrous turning away from her God, and his calling to spend his best efforts at what proved to be a vain attempt to spur his countrymen to reformation. Jeremiah 37 reads, I have sent also unto you all my servants the prophets, rising up early and sending them, saying, Return ye now every man from his evil way, and amend your doings, and go not after other gods to serve them. And ye shall dwell in the land which I have given to you and to your fathers. But ye have not inclined your ear, nor hearkened unto me, because the sons of Jonadab the son of Rechab have performed the commandment of their father, which I commanded them, but this people have not hearkened unto me. These Rechabites have lived the lives of nomads, living in tents, growing no crops, never touching strong drink. They did this to obey the command of their ancestor Jonadab. The Babylonian invasion of Israel had driven them to take refuge at Jerusalem, where they must have appeared as strange citizens indeed with their odd ways. Jeremiah held up their fidelity to that long-dead forefather to his wayward countrymen as an object by which to put a still sharper edge on his rebukes of the sinful behavior that was fast sealing their doom. These Rechabites gave their ancestral law an obedience which put to shame Judah's respect for Jehovah. In this way, the opinions of a sect, the dogmas of a group, the words of a favorite author, the fashions of a culture, all rule people with a sway far greater than the known will of God. In this strange nature of human beings there stand side by side self-will, love of independence, and an equally strong tendency to obey and follow any masterful voice that speaks loudly with an assumption of authority. God asks of us that we would be willing to give to one another, and he has often refused things that people freely give to each other. For instance, people's faith in other people far exceeds often their faith in God. The stockbroker gets a report of a change in economics halfway around the world, and with little or no examination of the credibility of the report, invests his $1,000 in the market consequence he expects. The doctor tells the patient to take medication of which he understands almost nothing, and that patient hurries to the pharmacy to get the prescription filled because the doctor said it was good. Never mind how successful he was in medical school or what studies may have shown the side effects of the drug to be. All of us stake our lives on the belief that the driver approaching us on the highway will obey traffic laws and stay on his side of the road. The same person is a slave to usurped authority and a rebel against rightful and divine dominion. And what does God say about this? If we receive the witness of men, the witness of God is greater. Think what God was asking of those to whom Jeremiah spoke. It wasn't anything outlandish. They were to stop worshiping cruel Moloch, whose sacrifices called for the murder of innocent children. They to observe the 10 Commandments, which practice has never brought anything but good to any people who have ever taken them to heart. They were to do such simple things as stopping work for 1 day a week and refrain from eating snakes and horses. The things God asks of us today are even simpler and more beneficial, as any of us can tell at a glance. He wants us to forgive those who wrong us, pray for those who despitefully use us. He wants us to love one another, to be diligent to read the Bible, to be in holy worship services. He wants us to be willing to make restitution to any whom we have wronged, to be kind to widows and children, to provide blankets for the poor and water for the thirsty. Most of all, he wants us to have faith in him. Does that seem like too much? And yet, the enemy of our souls presents other things as being greater. And those who worship God which are not gods put to shame those who understand the true God. God help us. Have you talked to him today?
You have been listening to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him by email at godsfive minutes@gmail.com. Tune in next time to hear more encouraging thoughts from God's Word on God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson.